Bonjour, mes élèves. Madame Ryan here with a tutorial on stem changing verbs, just in case you need a little clarification or maybe you're absent. So here we go. Stem changing verbs. Certain verbs in French will have a spelling change in all but the new and vu form. These verbs will follow the conjugation rules for the endings. They are usually ER verbs. In fact, I can't think of one off the top of my head that is not an ER verb. So we will begin by Okay, so a reminder, there are three major groups of regular verbs in French. So far we have covered verbs with infinitives ending in ER, verbs with infinitives ending in IR, and verbs with infinitives ending in RE. They are regular verbs because they follow the four-step rule or pattern. Irregulars, no pattern. We just do some crazy nonsense. So, since ER verbs are the most numerous, they are considered the first conjugation. In fact, 85% of verbs in French are ER verbs. Lucky us. So, to conjugate these verbs, we're going to identify or write the infinitive form, drop the ER from the infinitive to form the stem. Remember, the infinitive is the unchanged one. It's the one that still ends in ER. Identify the subject with which you're making agreement. So, if it's something like mes amis or ma mère et moi, then we have to figure out mes amis. Which pronoun does that go with? Well, it's plural and we're talking about them and not to them, so we're going to use the il plural form. If we're talking about ma mère et moi, then I'm talking about myself with another person. So we're looking at first person plural. That puts us at nous. Cool. Then we're going to add the ER ending, which matches the subject to the stem. So in the case of ma mère et moi, it's the nous form. So we're going to add, right here, check it out, ONS. In the case of mes amis, then we're going il plural form, and the ending is dun dun dun, dun ENT. Love that. Okay, cool. So now that we have reviewed how to conjugate a basic ER verb, regular ER verb, we're going to look at the stem changers. So the three groups of stem changers are, and technically there are four groups of stem changers, but our focus is only on the first three. So the ones that we're looking at are accent aigu, accent grave, verbs changing à accent grave, and verbs changing y à I. Okay, so here we go. Verbs changing accent aigu à accent grave, like espérer, to hope or to wish. All right, so I use different colors here so that you can see the stem change and where we've made agreement for the regular ER verbs. Okay, so it is a stem changer because if we look at the infinitive, you can see we have accent aigu in the infinitive. But when we start to look at the conjugated forms, when we look at the je form, the tu form, il, elle, on, and the il plural form, and all of these forms we're changing accent aigu à accent grave, and that's why accent grave appears here in the stem. Okay, so all of those stem changes I've made are in this very light blue color, so we can see the difference. And because it's a regular ER verb, we're dropping the infinitive ER ending in the je form, adding E, in the tu form ES, il, elle, on, qui, adding E, nous, ONS, vous, EZ, and il plural, ENT. Cool. So you'll notice here that only these forms in these blue boxes are changing. The nous and the vous forms are not changing. We're going to conjugate them just like we always do. We're not going to touch the stem. We're leaving that accent aigu the way that it's supposed to be. Okay? The stems in which a change occurs form a boot shape in the verb conjugation. So in the table you notice that you have those blue boxes and they make kind of this L shape. If you draw the pattern with one continuous line, it looks like a boot. Therefore, these verbs are commonly referred to as boot verbs. All right, so here you go. Here's your boot. And then there you go. There's your boot. Lots of people say it looks like lots of different things. Call it what you want. We're going to call them boot verbs. We'll call them stem changers. And on Conjugamos, you will see them called spell change verbs. All right, so our second group of stem changers, boot verbs, verbs changing à accent grave, like acheter. So notice in the infinitive form, you have no accent. However, in the conjugated forms, in the je form, the tu form, il, elle, on, qui, and the il, elle plural form, you start to see that accent grave. Okay? Once again, all in light blue for the stem changes. And we've got E, ESE, ONS, EZ, ENT, making agreement because it is still a regular ER verb. Our final type of stem changer are the Y at E, like payer. Notice payer means to pay for. I cannot say it enough times. To pay for, not just to pay. Okay, so looking at the verb conjugation, we can see that in the stem, instead of P-A-Y-E, we've now got P-A-I-E in the je form, in the tu form, in the il, elle, on, qui form, and in the il, elle plural form. Okay, making the same kind of stem change, still making agreement because it is still just a regular ER verb. So we've got E, ESE, ONS, EZ, ENT. My note at the bottom says, just like I said in class, the YER verbs have an optional stem change in which Y changes to I in all forms but nu and vu, just like what we've done here. For our purposes, you must make the change. This is not optional for us. We are learning the stem change, so we must make the stem change. However, when you look it up somewhere like word reference, maybe in the back of our textbook, I'm not sure, and a lot of verb conjugation books like 500 French verbs, then you're going to see two conjugations for a verb like payer. You're going to see a conjugation where they've kept the Y instead of changing to I, and you'll see a separate conjugation where they've made the stem change Y to I. Why it's optional now, I have no idea. Once upon a time, it was the rule. All right, other stem changing verbs. So verbs like préférer that are going to make the same kinds of changes as préférer. We have espérer, which means since you saw espérer conjugated here in the PowerPoint, préférer is going to work the same way. Make sure with préférer you are making the change on the second E accent aigu. We are not changing the beginning one. This is a prefix, pré. You can't touch it. What we can touch is E accent aigu, here the second one. Verbs like acheter, also on your list, you have amener. So we're going to change that E right in the middle. Amener, to bring someone along. Now, oh, no, go back. Not ready yet. Notice I have added 3 to this list. For those of you that would like to learn other verbs, you want to extend your knowledge a little bit, I've got these here for you. There are lots of verbs like acheter. So we have amener, 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 amener. Sound the same, have very similar meaning. Notice this one means to bring someone along, and this one means to take someone along. It's a very, very nuanced meaning. We can look at it if you're very interested. Otherwise, we'll leave it alone for French 3. Okay, then we have lever, like lève-toi, levez-vous, the command forms that we know from the expression pour la classe. Lever means to raise. If I say lève-toi, levez-vous, it's get up. I'm telling you to raise yourself up. So get up out of your chair. All right, promener. Promener is to walk. Right now, you know marcher. Promener is another word that we can use for to walk. Also going to make that same E accent grave stem change. All right, our last group, verbs like payer. We have envoyer. Envoyer means to send, and that's going to make that same Y to I stem change. And you'll notice here on this slide I have for you verbs with other spelling changes. These are not stem change verbs because they do not make changes in the je, tu, il, elle, on, qui, il, elle plural forms. They only change in the nu form. So not boot verbs. However, there is a spelling change. So when you see them on conjugamos, you're going to see them with the spelling change verbs. All right, so those two groups that we've covered, GER verbs, they're going to keep E in the nu form. So manger, when we conjugate it, so nous mangeons, we have MANGEONS. We're going to hold on to that E in the nu form to soften up that G. So we get mangeons, instead of mon gant, because mon gant sounds distinctly not French. All right, and that last group, CER verbs, we're going to add cedilla in the new form. So we have COMMENC, cedilla, ONS, commençons, once again, to soften that C. So instead of commençons, we have commençons, and it sounds as French as it should. If we continue on with our PowerPoint, you will see the final two groups. I'll go through them real quick. We do know appeler, even though you don't realize you know appeler, because you can say je m'appelle. I call myself. And we know that it's APPELLE. Hopefully you know by now. And so we know that we're going to double that L. What you didn't probably realize is that in the infinitive form, there's only one L. Okay? Then the last kind, jeter, we had to throw, so you have one T in the infinitive form. In je, tu, il, elle, on, qui, il, elle, plural, we're going to see two T's. And so that completes our little tutorial on our stem changing verbs. Hopefully that helps you out. If you still have questions, please do let me know. And if you need to watch again, pause it, check your notes. Absolutely, the video is here for you. Au revoir, à la prochaine.